Finding some time every day to relax deeply brings tremendous benefits. It improves your mood and your powers of concentration. It measurably boosts your immune system and it keeps you strong and energetic. What's more, the effects are cumulative. The more regularly you do it, the better you feel. This session will take you on a brief tour of the whole of human history, giving you an opportunity to access new, creative, and wider perspectives on life, and giving you a chance to enjoy really deep rest and comfort. This is also going to be a great way to embed a general knowledge of history so that you become more knowledgeable while you relax deeply. Now, as you prepare to relax very deeply, you can just close those eyes if you haven't already and begin by taking in a good, deep, full breath and letting it out slowly, emptying the lungs. That's it. And you can take a few of those nice, full breaths as I talk, ensuring that the inhales are full and the exhales are slow and smooth. As you begin to notice the gentle sense of release and sinking that this kind of breathing can bring, and relaxation. It is something the body knows a lot about. It does it every night when you drift off into a deep, restorative sleep, and you begin to forget all about that body, and your conscious mind begins to fade as your awareness drifts deeper and deeper into the landscapes of your unconscious mind, and you begin to dream. And your ability to dream includes being able to see, to hear, and to touch your surroundings. It even includes smell and taste. Because here and now, you could just get an approximate sense of a beautiful flower suspended in space before you, perhaps just as a flash of an image for a moment. And that's it. Breathing comfortably as that body relaxes. And you could remember for a moment the sound of the wind as it rustles through the trees. Just hearing that for a second. Or the smell of freshly baked bread. That's it. The feel of touching the bark on a tree. Just rubbing those fingers over the ridges and roughness of that tree. And the taste of cool, fresh orange juice on a hot summer's day. And then you can just let all those images and impressions fade. And as I count down from 5 to 1, you can go deeper. Each number taking you deeper still into a state of deep hypnotic trance where your imagination can really have fun. Taking you on a tour of the history of humankind and drifting down from 5, that's it, and 4, noticing the deep relaxation in that body, and 3, and beginning to float and glide and drift away, and 2, and getting the sense of soaring out of that body, relaxing down there, and being inside a large transparent sphere, floating, just floating, and drifting up and up until you get the sense of reaching 1 in comfort, the outer atmosphere of the planet, and floating right into space, and just seeing our blue planet down there below, the clouds, the land masses, the great oceans, and knowing that this sphere is a bubble that can carry you through time and direct you to any point on this planet's history. And of course, no one really knows the full history of the evolution of mankind, our kind. And it may be that we never will know all the details, but the archaeologists and geneticists who make a study of our origin, they point us to Africa, 150,000 years ago. 150,000 years ago. And you can just notice now your bubble beginning to home in on that as time begins to blur and rush backwards, back, 150,000 years. That's it. When the first Homo sapiens, maybe about 10,000 people in total, were spread out across the African plains in small tribes, hunter-gatherers, and according to the fossil records and DNA analysis, every human being alive today is related to these tribes people. But what is even more interesting is that all evidence points to there being a particularly individual woman to whom every single person alive today can actually trace their ancestry. A woman that scientists call the mitochondrial Eve. And, for reasons no one knows exactly, it was this woman, and only this woman, her descendants. They are the ones who survived and flourished. And the 6.5 billion people on the planet today are all descended from this one woman. And as you relax with that thought, you can just gaze right now at these African plains in your mind, feeling the heat, seeing the land stretching out to the horizon, dry desert here, foliage and forests here. Tribesmen and women interacting, making tools, discovering fire, the beginnings of language, and watch the dawn of humankind unfold before you. And as you rest easily in that shining sphere, you can watch time begin to speed up. The sun skimming over your head, the stars rushing past, like birds migrating, night becoming day, becoming night, becoming day, as the seasons change, and years, decades, centuries, millennia pass by in turn. And during all this time, humans begin to move and spread out across Africa and spread out of Africa, right across the globe, wanderers, nomads, different groups developing different cultures, different languages, different physical features, different types of tools, different styles of cave paintings, new ways of making precious artifacts. The climate changes as an ice age begins. Ice sheets spread across the globe, and all life struggles to adapt. Humans are forced to find new ways to hunt and survive. And then, in time, after thousands of years, the ice begins to recede, and you can notice time slowing down as you come to rest. Around 10,000 years ago, somewhere in Asia, to see the beginnings of agriculture, humans who have learned to sow seeds, reap crops, and just notice how this discovery revolutionizes society. How nomads begin to settle in one place. Each person begins to specialize to their part in a system, and you can just notice what the beginnings of this look like. Seeing the domesticated animals, sheep grazing in the fields, small houses made of mud bricks, of wood, and of stone, and how important the seasons have become for these people, knowing how to plan in advance, when to sow seeds, and when it's time to harvest. The rise of different religions, worship of gods and goddesses of fertility and plenitude. And as you rest in this scene, watching from within your sphere of time, you can just take some time to notice that now. And then watching time speed up again as these small agricultural tribes evolve and progress, and the civilization we know begins to dawn. As some 4,500 years ago, you can notice the first pyramids rising in Egypt, vast, towering structures stretching up to the heavens. The Egyptian Empire begins. Great pharaohs, hieroglyphics, the building of the Sphinx, the discovery of mummification, and just spending some time observing this vast land, watered by the great Nile, its people gradually evolving, becoming increasingly sophisticated in their approaches to building, to planning, to producing art, and really relaxing as you watch that with curiosity. as time moves on to just 3,000 years ago, as the rich, deep culture of ancient Greece begins to develop, you can just notice over the next few hundred years highlights, such as the first Olympic Games, the great philosophers, Socrates, Plato, thinkers whose ideas and influence are very much alive today, great architecture, the exquisite Parthenon in Athens, each column subtly tapered to look perfect to the human eye, and then soaring on through time into the great days of the Roman Empire, how Julius Caesar was assassinated at the idea of March 44 BC, because his senators feared he would make himself king. And if you can just notice how the Roman Empire spreads and grows over hundreds of years to include much of what we today call Europe, much of the Middle East and North Africa, and just being aware of their military genius, their ability to plan for battle, to maintain communication over such a huge territory. Infantry, cavalry, spears, helmets, fighting men, all taking orders from Rome. And then preparing for the last rush through time, through the Middle Ages of Europe and into the Renaissance of Dante, he begins his great poetic masterpiece, the Divine Comedy, in the early 1300s in Florence. And there follows a whole wave of artistic innovation, masterpieces of classical art, through to the 1500s. Great artists and sculptors, Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa, Michelangelo's glorious fresco on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, and his magnificent sculpture of David. And you can just take some time, resting in your bubble, to watch some of these great artists at work throughout Italy, noticing their understanding of form, of color, of light and shade, and their tremendous detail in everything they did. And then, in the remaining few hundred years, moving through into the Industrial Revolution in Europe, in 1789, James Watt, inventing a highly efficient steam engine used across Europe for coal mining. Trains, factory production lines begin, and you can notice the growth of the modern city and the pollution and smoke that brings thick fogs in London, where people can hardly see their own feet before them. And as you move forward and forward again, and see innovation after innovation, the gramophone, the first electronics, wireless radio, through the horrors of the First World War, the beginnings of television, on and through the devastation of the Second World War, the rising power of North America, the arrival of computers, the internet, the rapid industrialization of China, and right out into the present day. Feeling the force of history behind you, and knowing that all this that you have seen is nothing more than snapshots of a process so vast, so richly complex, that you could never consciously comprehend it all, because within all that time, more has happened than we can ever know, as humankind has explored, evolved, and developed, and has committed acts both great and terrible. And this story has not ended yet, and it's a story in which you have your part to play, and the knowledge that your own life is part of this great narrative can stay with you as a reminder of the billions of lives that have gone before and struggled and innovated to bring about the future that is your present and your place as a child of your ancestors, living in the future they strove to bring about. And then just preparing to return to the here and now as I count from 1, feeling refreshed and alert, and 2, noticing the position of your arms and legs, and 3, preparing to become wide awake, and 4, reorienting your awareness to the external world, and then 5, and whenever you're ready, just